In mid-October 2024, I had the opportunity to tour via car the great Second World War battlefields at Normandy, France. If you plan to do this yourself, you can have a great trip at an affordable price. In this video, I will discuss tips for a fun trip to Normandy. I found guided battlefield tours are expensive, and in many cases, they're really not that good. While there are advantages having things taken care of from end to end, it comes at great cost with fixed schedules. I'm an advocate of do-it-yourself battlefield tours. This gives you the power to set the schedule, plan what you want to see, and not be rushed, all at cheaper cost than guided tours. With the tools available on the internet, trip planning is easy. Driving in France, especially Normandy, is straightforward, and having a car allows you to set your schedule and explore. A few housekeeping details before you travel. 1. Purchase an international plan from your mobile provider. Google or Apple Maps work great. It's a huge help navigating around. Also, making reservations and researching historical sites is readily available and translated. 2. Travel with at least 2 credit cards. Ensure through your bank the credit cards can be used in France. Very few locations take cash. Everything is credit cards. I'd recommend taking only a few €100 for walking around money. 3. Since you'll be driving, I would go to AAA and get an international driver's license. It costs $20 and most places don't require it, but just in case, it's good to have one if your rental car agency asks. 4. If you are a U.S. military member, active duty, guard, reserve, or retired, bring your identification. Many museums and sites in France reduce or waive entrance fees for veterans. Last, don't forget your passport. I'd recommend not having a rigid schedule. Allow time to drive around the country lanes of Normandy. There are many monuments and small battlefields. Wandering around will yield wonderful gems to visit. Renting a car and driving in France is not difficult. For us, we rented a Citroën SUV. It got nearly 40 miles to the gallon. Very comfortable, and for the 10-day trip, it cost around $400. France has a great road network. A roads called autoroutes are similar to U.S. interstates. They have tolls that use credit card contactless payment. In Normandy, the national route N13 runs from Caen to Cherbourg. This highway allows visitors to move around the battlefield easily. Country roads are well marked, but use mobile maps for navigation. A warning, don't exceed the speed limit. There are radar monitoring of roadways in France. For lodging, I recommend staying at 2 locations, one behind the American sector of the Omaha and Utah beaches, and then pivot to another location further east behind the British and Canadian beaches. I would stay at each location for 3 to 4 days at a time. This allows you to unpack and spend your days touring and not packing up every day to move to the next lodging. To reserve lodging, I use Booking.com. It is a great resource. There are many small inns and bed and breakfast establishments. You won't have a problem finding a great place to stay. For my trip, the first 4 days, I stayed at the village of St. Mary-Glees. It is 5 miles inland from Utah Beach and in the center of American airborne operations. My B&B was a short walk to the village center and museums. A recommendation, stay somewhere with breakfast included. It's much easier having breakfast on the premises than spending time exploring to find something to eat. Something to consider when traveling in Normandy, many of the restaurants are closed on Sunday and Monday, so plan finding food accordingly. An inn or B&B with a restaurant attached is a help on those days. Also, unless you are visiting in the high season of the summer, many of the restaurants in the smaller villages close by 8 p.m. For the American sector of Utah and Omaha beaches, I recommend visiting the following museums. The Utah Beach Landing Museum. This is a great museum situated right on the beach where the landing took place. The countryside remains rural and much like it appeared in 1944. You can easily spend most of the day here. Afterwards, I'd recommend driving north on the local coast road D421. You will see numerous monuments and German defensive emplacements. In St. Mary-Glees, the Airborne Museum is fantastic. It provides a comprehensive examination of the American airborne operations inland from Utah Beach. Plan for most of the day at this museum. Also, walk around the town square of St. Mary-Glees. Note that a chaka of U.S. paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne landed here in the early morning of June 6. 9 of the 15 paratroopers perished in the ensuing firefight. There are 2 sites in the vicinity of St. Mary-Glees worth the visit. Go west on Road D15 2 miles to La Fiera Causeway in the valley of the Mederet River. It looks peaceful and beautiful, yet in June 1944 it was the site of one of the most intense small unit actions of the war. The Germans fiddled with the flood control gates at Karathon to the south and backed up the river, flooding the valley in 2 to 3 feet of water. The only way across was the elevated road, exposed to German fire from the farm buildings and church across the valley. This site has the famous Iron Mike Memorial. Read the citation on what the American airborne accomplished. They had to gain the causeway and access the open country that wasn't flooded. This is one of the few exit roads from Utah Beach. Go across the causeway and visit the farmhouse and church. Very moving place to visit. Continue west on D15 to Pukaville, 4 miles further. Turn left on the country road La Pousse. Head towards Pukaville. After 1/3 of a mile, turn left on La Chavarie Road. Go another half mile to the C-47 Memorial Garden. This monument is dedicated to Chalk number 32 from the 101st Airborne Division. Their C-47 was inbound to the drop zone 4 miles to the east when it was hit by anti-aircraft fire over Pukaville. The aircraft crashed within a half mile. All perished. This memorial uses natural elements to commemorate the crash site. Trees for the men, plants and rocks to outline the aircraft. A very moving memorial to visit. While driving around west of St. Marigles, look for the remnants of the hedgerows along country lanes. Some still exist. Stop and walk these areas. You will experience the compartmentalization and claustrophobic environment encountered by American troops in these battlefields. Next, a visit to Point du Hoc, where U.S. Army Rangers scaled the 125 cliffs in their attack. This battlefield linked the Utah and Omaha beaches. The battlefield remains untouched. The defensive emplacements are still there. Simply an impressive sight to visit. Note the extensive cratering that remains after 8 decades. Working eastward to Omaha Beach, plan to spend hours touring the site. Many of the German fortifications remain, and you get a sense of the vastness of the beaches at low tide and the towering bluffs. Omaha became a battle to control the 4 draws through the bluffs that allowed movement inland. There are numerous memorials and historical markers along the beach. Spend time at the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial at Colville-sur-Mer on a bluff overlooking where the 1st Division came ashore. There are at least 5 private museums near Omaha Beach. All have their unique contributions to the story. One of the best museums is on the road to the American Cemetery. The Overload Museum is excellent with numerous displays of equipment and battle scenes depicting the Omaha landings and campaign inland. Well worth the visit. At Arromenches, visit the D-Day Museum located where the British landed at Gold Beach. A new museum building was completed in 2023. It has a magnificent view and provides a detailed history of the assault and the Mulberry Bee artificial harbor that was key to the Allies' logistics supporting the offensive inland. Further east is Juno Beach, where the Canadians landed at Courcelles-sur-Mer. This is well worth spending a day. The Juno Beach Center offers visitors an understanding of the contributions Canada made to the Second World War. The Juno Park, which surrounds the museum, allows visitors to explore the historic site through the remains of the Atlantic Wall. The well-preserved German fortifications are easily accessible. The museum guides are excellent. The final beach to visit is Sword. This is the easternmost of the beaches. The landing at Sword was accomplished straightforward, but once the fighting moved inland, the battle for Caen was a grinding 2-month campaign. As you drive inland from Sword Beach to Caen, note how the terrain is more open and not compartmentalized, like it is behind Utah and Omaha beaches. There are 2 museums in the Caen area I found quite fascinating. Pegasus Bridge Memorial at Ronville, a museum and memorial to the British 6th Airborne Division in the Normandy landings and its capture of the bridges over the Caen Canal and Orne River. This museum provides a thorough exhibit not only on the seizing of the bridges, but the actions of the British airborne forces to secure the eastern edge of the Normandy battlefield. At the museum site is the original bridge and a replica of an airspeed Horsa glider, similar to those used in the assault on the bridges. Visit the Caen Memorial in the northern suburbs of the city of Caen. It is on the site of a German fortification command post used for the defense of Caen. This museum is extraordinarily well done. It focuses on the French experience in World War II. It is a very balanced presentation and well worth the visit. A few last thoughts on visiting Normandy. The French people are friendly, especially if you make an effort to use a few French phrases. Learning 50 basic French words goes a long way to breaking down barriers. The museum and sites I suggest are just the start of what's available. There are over 40 museums dedicated to the Normandy campaign. Many small private museums are quite good. Do the research to plan a trip that suits your interests and time available. You'll have great fun doing the trip yourself while saving a lot of money. Good luck.